Hello, hello, and welcome to my Flosstube channel. My name is Megan, and this is my teeny tiny piece of YouTube where I talk about cross stitch because that is what I spend my time and money on. Today is September 5th. It's a Friday. This is my Flosstube for July and August because I did not have the time for July. I stitched 2 projects in July, barely, and then I just didn't have time at the end of the month to sit down and film the 2. Anyway, it would have been a waste. Anyway, we're gonna combine them so that it makes more sense. Because then I had the first week off in August for vacation, and I managed to stitch more in that week than probably the whole year, but for July anyway. So what I lacked in July, I made up for in August. So we're gonna combine the 2 so that it makes sense. So I'm going to dive right into my stitching. The first piece that I stitched on is my 2025 focus piece, and I use that term very lightly. This piece is one of 4 pieces that I'm counting as one sort of project. For those of you who've been around for a while, you know, but it is the Boho Owl collection by Sandra Vargas, charted by GeckoRouge. So there's 4 of them. I'm stitching all 4, and my goal on each of them is to get a page finish every year. So that's 4 page finishes across 4 projects. And this one, the page also meant I got the row of the top row finished. And it's all background. This is a page. So I ground this out in July and August. Well, not really July, but definitely August. So I got my row finish a month early. So I don't have to touch this at all in September. So there it is. Yep. This was the side that I was working on over here. So she's all done. And it's a third, basically, of the project. So she's 33% complete. Yay! This is stitched on 25 count something, and it was originally gridded, but I hated it, and so I washed out all the gridding because it was 20 by 20. But anyway, stitching is 10 by 10, and my brain was it doesn't compute. So I got all. I don't know how many stitches I stitched. I was so bad at counting my stitches this summer. Don't even ask me. I have no idea. I just know that I finished the page. I finished my goal on that piece, and now I'm not stitching these pieces next year because next year is just going to be another full page of background, and I'm going to take a break. So this is now going to go away until 2027. Girl, bye. And then I'm going to, I think that's, and then I'm going to just try and get, whatever done on these ones. I think there's 3 rows total. Yeah, there's 3 rows total. So that was my first thing that I stitched on in July, and then I wrapped it up in August. I don't have to touch it in September, so that goes away until next year. Everything that I just said to you, I'm going to say it to you again. The next thing that I stitched on was June Blooms, but I'm going to show her to you at the end because I also stitched on her in August and I'm stitching on her now, so we're just going to put a pin in June for a second. The next thing that I stitched is my Stitches So Beautiful piece. So Stitches So Beautiful is another full coverage charting company. And on their Facebook business page, every month they run a challenge where if you stitch 250 stitches a week or 510 stitches a week, sorry, there's gale force winds happening here. And my curtain just looked like it was going to punch me in the face. 250 full crosses or 510 stitches per week. If you do that, so you sort of post your starting point, and then every week you post your progress, and then if you qualify, you get you get the piece. You get the piece, the challenge piece, the reward, I guess, for that week. I'm going to just pull up in my tablet. So I started this piece in May because I wanted the May pattern back then. And so the piece that I'm working on from Stitches So Beautiful is called Fantasy Owl. And I love, 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 love the colors of this. Like, they're just all my favorite colors. And I'm stitching this on 32 count, 1/1 tent stitch. So I had to stitch 500 stitches a week, and I managed to do that. I'm stitching it on fabric that I bought from Hand Dyed by Rolanda at Stitch North in the springtime. It's like a purpley, well, actually, that's pretty close. It's like a purpley, yellowy kind of blended piece. So I got more than 2,000 stitches done because I stitched more than 500 tent stitches every week. So this is where it is. I got a page finish. Stitches So Beautiful pages are much, much smaller than Heaven and Earth Design. So this is a page, actually. And I'm realizing as I'm going along that I don't like stitching 1/1 on 32 count. It's too small. I think 25 count is the way to go for me for 1/1. I'm going to keep stitching this, obviously, because I really like it. It's just, it's tiny. It's tiny. So I stitched the 2,000 stitches. Wait, I have my tablet here so I can give you percentages like a professional. Which means this piece is now at 4.98%, almost 5%. Stop that. All called for DMC colors, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I bought this needle minder at Stitch North too. And this is, I got this from GeckoRouge like years and years ago. So I'm likely not, I don't want the September pattern for Stitches So Beautiful, so I probably won't touch this in September, which is good because I have other things that I need to focus on in September. So this is really just going to come out if I ever want that Stitches So Beautiful free pattern. Because, you know, or, I mean, I shouldn't say that. You never know. Maybe someday I'll be like, you know what? I really just want to stitch my Stitches So Beautiful piece, regardless. This piece is in a samply stitched bag that I also bought at the Stitch North weekend that I was at. Books and stuff. So pretty. I love her bags. So I stitched on that throughout the month of August, 500-ish, 10 stitches a week. Because I managed to stitch the 500 stitches a week for the Stitches So Beautiful challenge, I got the August pattern of the month, and it's this one. Stop it. It's this one. And I think that is so stunning. When I get around to it, I am just going to get black fabric because it's like 62,310. No, you can miss me with that. No, thank you. I'll just get black fabric, and like the trees and stuff will just be like negative space in the middle of the piece, which actually kind of makes sense to me. What is this called, you ask? That's a great question. Let me tell you. It is called Mystical Golden Moon by Jen Lin Boutique. It's 400 by 400 stitches, 122 colors. It's someday, but certainly not right now. But yeah, so I'm super happy that I got that one. That was the reason why I pulled out my Stitches So Beautiful stitching. The next thing that I grinded through in August was the Stitching Shelf by Amiee Stewart, charted by Heaven Earth Designs. This is my oldest piece, I think. I started it years and years and years ago and like didn't really do much, and then just recently fell in love with it. So it's been one of my go-tos. I'm stitching it bottom to top. I started in this bottom corner over here where the snowman is, and I'm stitching it bottom to top. Don't ask me why. I just wanted to be different, you know. We just wanted to be pop punk. So I managed to do a lot on this in August. This is basically the only, like I stitched on my owl, Sandra Vargas owl, and I stitched on my fantasy owl. But then I stitched on this so much when I was off at the beginning of August. This fabric is gargantuan, so just give me a second. Bear with me while I get to where I need to be. Oh dear. We're getting there, we're getting there. Just hold on, hold on. Jiminy cheese. Oh my god, what is happening? Okay, here. There. So I stitched so much in this summer shelf, and then I moved up into the spring shelf. So all of this is new, and this is like a lot of this fill-in is new as well. When I don't know if you can see, I've got like the gridding filament in here. I grid a page wide by a shelf tall, and then I started it in this summer piece where I just sort of did like extreme, like, or color completion in that section, and this is what I'm doing here as well, as opposed to doing like row by row. It's so much fun to do color completion on a piece like this, because once you get the big colors in, like, you start to see the little vignettes, like here's this little window, and anyway, so I got a lot of stitches in on that. Like, I think one day I stitched 1,500 stitches, and then like the next day I stitched 1,300 pieces. Like, I got a lot of progress done on this, and I'm really pleased about that. So this is everything that I have done in total. Not bad. And most of this is from this year. Like, I think when I picked this back up again, I only, like, I had, see how this, so this is like the last remnant page. So I had this done up into autumn. And then I stitched the rest, and then I've been stitching all of this. So pretty good. Pretty good. This is, I'm sure this is 25 count as well. I'm doing 1/1 full cross with all the DMC called for pieces. This one is at 13.15%. So she's basically done. She's basically done. This I keep also in a samply stitched bag. It's an older one, so it doesn't have her branding on it, but I'm pretty sure this is a Jen bag. It's got her look. Then when I came back from vacation, I realized that I completely forgot that I had another goal that I wanted to do for stitching. So I sort of have been stitching almost monogamously on this piece for a big chunk of August. This is the Northern Summer piece by Embroidery. It's really my only non-coverage piece that I'm stitching on every time. So this is the same kind of thing, like it's a seasonal piece, then there's 4 of them, and I have all 4, so I'm stitching the summer one, and blah, 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 blah. So I promised myself that I wasn't going to give myself goals for these, and I'm pretty much sticking true to that, and they're all pretty much the same kind of, like, progress. Like, there's this middle stamp, and then it kind of spirals around, and then there's, like, 2 solid squares on the outside. So far, for the 3 that I've done, I have at least the center motif and a little spiral done, and then, like, some of these corners finished. So I stitched on this pretty much all in August. Like, I stitched on this in August. So I got all this done in August. Pretty good. Pretty good. I have stitched a little bit of it in September. These, like, leaves and stuff up here in this corner, because there's a local stitching group that happens where I am, and if I can go, I take this piece because it's easier to travel with than a HAED, because everything else that I'm stitching on is full coverage. So this usually comes, and I'll show you the middle. The middle has specialty stitching. And these are all French knots, and French knots are the bane of my existence. But they actually look pretty good. They're not in the right spots, but they look good. And that's all that matters to me. So I'll stitch on this in September, if and when I can go to those stitching nights. So we'll see how my month sort of flows along. I'm stitching this with the called for overdyed DMC that Embroidery does. So it has 3 different colors of green. Focus. I don't know how many stitches. I don't know the percentage. It's a paper pattern, so I don't know. But yeah, so that's pretty much what I stitched on for the 2-ish weeks in August, like in the middle. And then I got burnt out on that, and I switched back to my favorite piece, my ride or die piece, the one that if I could pledge eternity to, I would pledge eternity to this piece. It is June Blooms. Charted by, that is, maybe I'll just put it in the picture. That is designed by Margaret Morales, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. She's the love of my life. You see the curtains in the background? Crazy. Yeah. So I stitched on her a lot. And I'm going to explain why as I sort of segue into future plans. So here's where she's at. Pretty good. We're almost at the end of the row. I have 4 columns left, and I have 4 months left in the year. So my goal, my mini goal, is to do a column a month and get her finished for the end of the year. She stitched on 25 count, 1/1 with DMC. And I have more needle minders than you can shake a stick at on this piece. She's currently at 35%. Which is very exciting. I'm very excited about that. So I'm going to use this as a segue into my plans, as I said. So, well, actually, I should say, do I want to say that? What order do I want to do this in? I'm going to do this one first because I have her in my hands. So I've been finding more and more, sorry if you can hear stuff flying around, it's because it's windy. I've been finding more and more people who are stitching full coverage, which is great, but it's also very enabling. And a few of these folks have been stitching a piece from the 2025 Heaven and Earth stitch along that they're doing, and I like that. That challenge really appeals to me. And I had looked at the 2025 patterns, and I didn't like any of them. Enough to like commit that time. You know what I mean? So I have decided to try again. Like, I'll see what they release. If they do it in 2026, I'll see what they release. And if I like something, then I'm going to try to get the 6 pages, which I did the math, and it's only like 120 stitches a day, which is not that bad. It's really not that bad. I wouldn't really be able to stitch much else, but it's not that bad. So the how it's working this year, I assume it's going to be the same for next year, is you have to get 6 pages finished, and if you get 6 pages finished, you get all of the patterns that you could have chosen from at the beginning of the year. But I just like the fact that I like that challenge of 6 pages. However, if I don't like any of the HAED patterns that they release for the 2026 stitch along, I am going to personally try to get 6 pages finished on June. So a row is 5 pages. So if I focused 120 stitches a day on her next year, I would get a whole other row for her 5th birthday, which is very, very appealing. Like, to the point where the HAED patterns are going to have to be really spectacular for me to not just stitch 6 pages on June. The downside is that, like, I won't win anything, which sometimes it gives you something to, grind for. But then the positive side is that because I would just be doing it on my own, I don't necessarily, like, have to get 6 pages. Like, you know what I mean? I have wiggle room just in case. But that's my major plan for 2026, is to either get 6 pages finished on June or to do the HAED stitch along. So I'm trying to I've got 4 columns left to get her to the end of the row so that I have, like, a solid start for pages in 2026. So hopefully that's going to be what happens next year. Why am I thinking about next year already? Don't get me started, because I will spiral. And I'm not going to put that on the internet. Again. What did I want to talk about? I did purchase things this month. I bought a lot of stuff. I haven't stitched on my Bella Filipinas for a while, but I have 2 Bella Filipinas that are like sister patterns, and there's a 3rd one, and she's going to be my New Year, New Start for 2026. So I bought all of the accoutrements for her to start her. And I've also sort of slowly been buying the fabric and the floss to start the piece that I planned on starting in September. So I'm gonna finish my column on June Blooms, get that finished, and then I am starting the possibilities. These are Eevees. These are my favorite Pokemon. I am concerned for my safety. Jeepers creepers. Yeah, Eevees are my favorite Pokemon, and I've always wanted to stitch an Eevee piece, and this art really called to me. It's retired now from Heaven and Earth Design. I don't actually even know who the designer is. Let me tell you. Mini The Possibilities by Michelle Sayeda. Charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. It's tiny. It's a mini. But it's 200 and something colors. So I have the fabric and the colors and the floss drops, and I just need the project bag that my mom is supposed to be making me. And then I can start this. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna finish a column on June, and then I'm gonna kit it up. I'm gonna put all the floss on the floss drops, and there we go. I'm starting in the bottom because I want to stitch Eevee first, and then I can kind of choose like which ones to stitch as I kind of go along. Yeah, I'm so excited to start this. I'm starting it in September because my brother's birthday is in September. It's not for him, it's mine, but he also really likes Pokemon, so I just thought, I like Pokemon, he likes Pokemon, I like him, it's his birthday this month, I'm going to start my Pokemon piece this month. Ta-da. Because my mom and I have developed a new rule where you can have 12 full coverage pieces on the go at the same time. One for every month. So this will be my September full coverage piece. I don't have 12 yet, so I still have some room. I could start a couple more if I wanted to, but that's going to be my start. And then I probably won't get much more progress on it, to be honest, for the year. Well, we'll see, because I really do want to get June done, and I also have to do my other owl, and I have to do the other Owl Force embroidery piece. So many owls in my repertoire. Wow, very confusing. So yeah, that's me. That's everything that I stitched on in July and August. Yeah, I'm hoping September, like my summer was just wild. Like I can't believe it's September already, and I really hope that these last couple of months sort of slow down a bit, because I didn't even buckle up my seatbelt. I feel like I have whiplash. It's just been a time. It's been crazy. I think that's everything for me. I've talked to you about everything I have. Yeah. So I hope you have a lovely September, whatever's left of it. Enjoy your stitching. I've been watching everybody's mid-year whip parades, and they've been very dangerous. So I don't have the time to do a mid-year whip parade. I thought about it, but I don't have the time. But I think I really only stitch on the same pieces you see every month anyway, so it doesn't really make any sense for me. But I've been loving watching yours, so continue. Although I know it's September, so it's past mid-year, but you should still post those. Yeah, that's it. I'm done. Otherwise, I'm going to talk for 1,000 years. Stay warm, stay safe, don't get blown away in these gale force winds that we're experiencing. In Southern Ontario. Okay, bye-bye.